Do you know that feeling when you are talking to someone and suddenly you say that one sentence and the other person's face just suddenly goes completely blank and now you are overthinking in your mind if they truly hate you? If you can relate to that feeling, I have 4 body language myths for you that 99% of people believe in and are completely false, so you can literally save hours of your time overthinking about these when they are not even true. And by the way, if you don't know me, my name is Martin and I have studied charisma and communication skills for 3 years straight, and I have helped people just like you to achieve charisma mastery. So let's get started. The first one is the 92% myth. The person who made this was thinking and researching people, and he realized, whoa, 92% of their body language and their communication was actually non-verbal. But funnily enough, he, after saying all of that, decided to suddenly burn his research under a pit of fire. And you might not be wondering why. Why, after all of that research, he would burn his papers and say to the public that that is actually not true? Reason for that is because he realized that if truly 92% of human communication would be non-verbal, then you could literally catch a killer by just him moving his finger. And that does not make any sense. That means if you are still in the mindset of you thinking that 92% or 90+% of human communication is non-verbal, this mindset has been debugged literally by the author himself, and now he wants people to know that this is not true. That means another one, very similar to it, is eyes looking to the left is lying. We have probably seen this in TV shows, in movies, where there was a detective and he was observing this one suspect. And suddenly that person puts their eyes like this to the top of the left. And now they know, oh, he's lying. And because they spread this misconception to millions of people around the world, now millions of people around the world think that having your eyes like this mean that you are actually lying. But let me tell you the truth. I am doing this when I am thinking. When someone asks me a question, I usually go with my eyes to the left or to the right. If you move your eyes to the left or to the right, that does not mean that the other person or you are lying. The only thing that that means is that you are thinking. Whenever I am thinking, I am 100% of the times just formulating the sentence in my mind. That's it. Nothing else. You can see these pauses that I make throughout this entire video. I am just thinking about the next sentence I will say to you with a flow in my mind. That's why I like to take a pause and just think about what I'm gonna say next. But in conversations, I usually don't hold eye contact this much longer because that would be creepy. That's why I put my eyes like this. So the other person knows I'm thinking, and I am thinking about my response properly, not in this lying way. So the next time that someone will do this to you, you can stop overthinking now and you can actually know that, okay, this person is just thinking. He is just thinking about a response that they can say to me. That also leads me to another point, and those are these crossed arms. We have all probably heard in body language that if someone crosses their arms like this, they don't want to talk to us. And I have actually 3 important points to this. First one, if you cross your arms like this, it does not help you whatsoever in non-verbal communication. Firstly, because everybody knows this. And now, when you cross your arms like this, now everybody thinks that you are closed off, even though it is not true. Second of all, you now feel internally insecure because you have your arms like this. And now you are covering your chest and everything around it. And you're basically closed off. Which means that you are not close to what the other person is saying, but you are closed in your mind. I will repeat that again. This is a very important piece of knowledge you need to remember. If you put your hands like this, you are not defensive against the other person. You are insecure in yourself. That's what you need to remember. And also, finally, the third thing, if you put your hands like this, you now cannot gesture. You now cannot entertain the people who are next to you. And you are now basically like a robot. So those are the 3 things why you shouldn't do this hand gesture. First of all, people will think of you as defensive, even though that is not true. Second of all, you will make yourself subconsciously feel anxious. And third of all, you will not be able to use your hand gestures to entertain people around you. But still, the myth still stands. If someone crosses their arms, they're not defensive towards you, they don't want to speak to you, they're just insecure in themselves. I will repeat that again. If someone does this with their hands, they want to talk to you. They are just insecure in themselves. That is the right mindset when it comes to this. And finally, pointing is not rude. I point a lot. I point so much. I am pointing right now. I point a lot every single day when I'm with people. Because when I am literally going around the street, I have probably 10 people who come up to me because I am a charismatic person. So when I'm looking at them, they might be thinking that I'm looking at someone behind them. That's why I always point at them. So they know I'm pointing at them, not at someone behind their shoulders. That is the problem when you lock eye contact with someone. They are thinking now in their mind, oh, is he looking at me or is he looking at someone behind me? That's why I always signalate with a with a point and a wink that I am here for you and I am seeing you. But of course, if you are like, if you are gossiping like this about someone, that is not gonna cut it, bro. But if you are just pointing at someone and letting them know that you see them, that is incredibly charismatic. I would say that is one of the most charismatic things that you can do. And people say, pointing is weird. Pointing is rude. It is only rude if you make it rude. I will repeat it once more. It is only rude if you make it rude. Also, awkwardness. Awkward situations are only awkward if you make them awkward. If I get into an awkward situation, it is not awkward for me because I know what to say in that situation. I know what to do in that situation. But 99% of people would just say, that hurt. They would literally just stumble over their words. They would start stuttering. They would start mumbling. They would start to go completely off topic because they don't know what to do with themselves. But if you don't make it rude, you will not be seen as rude. That is a good quote, dude. That means if you want to point at someone, that shows huge levels of confidence. For example, if I'm talking to a girl and I see a girl in the mall, for example, so she knows that I'm looking at her, I will do this. I will snap my fingers and I will also wink at her and point at her also. Because that shows that I am confident and that shows that I am not afraid of making signal with people. That means if you want to portray signal and confidence to the people around you, use pointing so they know that you actually see them. Don't do this kind of gossiping pointing. That is rude, 100%. But if you do it confidence like this, you can imagine you would love a person next to you who is like that. And also, as the final note of this video, if you want to improve your charisma and your communication skills to the next level so you can become the most charismatic version of yourself in any room that you will ever enter, then you can click the first link in the description. You get access to me as your charisma and communication skills expert, and you'll get access to all of my courses when it comes to charisma, mindset, first impression, conversations, listening, speaking, body language, confidence, absolutely everything that you can ever think about. So that means if you are interested in that, click the first link in the description. I will see you right there. And if you also want to know how to handle rejection and be absolutely fine with being rejected, then you should click this video right here. Live a happy life.